Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 5th December 2020. In this video, we'll be discussing a couple of issues. One with respect to the scope of surgery in Ayurveda, and the second one is with respect to the electronic nicotine delivery systems, which was recently banned by the central government as it is a health issue, especially amongst the youngsters and teenagers. This article titled Surgery as a Part of Ayurveda is taken from the Indian Express. Before getting into the details of this, let us talk about one of the most basic problem of our Indian healthcare delivery system. For example, if you take the look at the statistics, India is severely underperforming because of lack of a few factors. The first one amongst them is lack of enough number of healthcare professionals. The second problem is that of lack of funds, and the third problem is lack of infrastructure at the grassroots levels, especially in villages. They are simply not enough to deal with the upcoming health issues that India might have in the future. In order to solve this problem of lack of professionals, the Central Council of Indian Medicine, a statutory body set up under the Ayush Ministry, has recommended that PG Ayurvedic practitioners can receive formal training for a variety of general surgery, ENT, ophthalmology, and dental procedures. So, the decision follows the amendment to the Indian Medicine Central Council regulations of 2016. According to the government, this is yet another step by the government to increase healthcare service providers. What are the actions? If you take a look at it, the National Medical Commission Act in 2019 allowed for the formalization of proposals to induct mid-level care providers like community health providers in primary healthcare in India. They would serve at health and wellness centers across the country and focus on primary healthcare provision with a limited range of medicines allowed for them to use for treatment of patients. Even this particular move was opposed by a lot of doctors because they undergo a rigorous training, and this step is branded as a form of quackery through half-baked doctors. So several countries have been using mid-level care providers such as nurse practitioners to enhance their access to healthcare, but that is a problematic issue in our country. One of the reasons cited by doctors is they're not against these mid-level practitioners, they're only against the fact that they're not properly trained in our country. The current problem in this present context is with respect to a term called Shalya. What is this Shalya? Generally, in Ayurveda, Shalya means general surgery, and Shalakya, this refers to ENT and every other specialized surgeries. So, this was opposed by many allopathic professionals with the Indian Medical Association, looking at it as a mode of allowing mixing of systems of medicine by using terms from allopathy. So, the Ayush Ministry subsequently clarified that the Shalya and Shalakya postgraduates were already learning these procedures in their surgical departments in Ayurvedic medical colleges. So they are actually getting trained in surgery. A lot of professionals in Ayurveda say that Ayurvedic students indeed get trained on this Shalya and Shalakya Tantra, which are very much an integral part of Ayurveda. But what Ayurveda does not train them upon is complicated advanced surgeries like neurosurgery. So Ayurveda is not claiming that they will train students in complicated surgeries like neurosurgery. We're talking about basic surgeries like the one that are already being a part of Shalya and Shalakya. The government contends that this move will actually give a clarity on the skill set expected from a surgical practitioner. The Indian Medical Association, which is a body of allopathic practitioners, is really not happy with this fact. And also, recently, Niti Aayog has planned for creating 4 committees for integrating the various systems of medicine and medical practice and medical education. They are not happy with this move either, because it says that unless and until we have formidable structures, a rigorous discipline, this will lead to the death of allopathic medicine or modern medicine, according to the view of Indian Medical Association. That is the gist of this article. The second article, End of the Road for Ends, is taken from the Financial Express. The context of this article is the electronic nicotine delivery systems. So recently, the government has decided to promulgate the prohibition of electronic cigarettes production, manufacturing, import, export, and distribution, storage, and advertisement. Basically, everything that is related to this ends has been banned completely or prohibited completely. Within the ambit of this ends, you also have something like e-hookah or the heat not burn products and several other devices. Even the advertisement of these products will invite legal trouble. So all this mentioned products and activities are punishable with an imprisonment of up to 1 year, or there is also a fine. So if there is a subsequent offense even after the first time, there is an imprisonment of up to 3 years. The World Health Organization has urged member countries to take appropriate steps, including prohibiting this e-cigarettes and related products way back in 2016 itself. The government had issued an advisory in 2018 to all states to consider banning e-cigarettes. ICMR has also recommended a complete ban on e-cigarettes as it is adversely affecting the human body systems with impact across the life course. So these products are usually marketed as being safer alternatives for normal cigarettes, but that is not a fact. These products may act as actually a gateway products to induce non-smokers, especially youth and adolescents, to nicotine use. The major problem is nicotine. Nicotine is a very addictive substance. Since youth are resorting to this sort of products, they are eventually getting into smoking because it is leading to addiction and subsequent use of conventional tobacco products. So e-cigarettes are usually promoted by the industry as a smoking cessation aid. That is, if someone is addicted to cigarettes and they want a safer alternative, the industry promotes these ends as a alternative. So they are actually not safe, but they are projected to be safe. It is because of this reason the government has decided to ban it. There are several issues with this products as well, because firstly, there is no registration. They are simply sold without any regulation in the market. They contain nicotine. When they contain nicotine, which is an addictive substance, it is definitely going to have impact on the health of youngsters. Third one, e-cigarettes cause health hazards for youth, young adults, and especially pregnant women. A lot of women depend on ends because of the perceived safety of these products, but it has been proven that it affects pregnant women negatively. The next aspect is a number of metals, including lead, chromium, nickel, and there are certain chemicals like formaldehyde have been found in aerosols of even these products, which are generally found in cigarettes as well. And what is worse is the concentration of these chemicals and heavy metals is almost similar to that of a normal cigarette as well. So there is no additional benefit except the fact that it is much more expensive than a conventional cigarette. So a lack of knowledge about this negative effects of nicotine and the easy accessibility of these products make youth to pick this up, and they are eventually getting dragged into conventional tobacco products. So there are even certain conspiracy theories that ends are designed to push the tobacco industry even further, because eventually when they get addicted to nicotine and these products are so expensive, they find cigarettes to be a cheaper alternative and then resort to cigarette smoking. which is even more addictive. So this is a vicious cycle in the youth, which has a long-term impact on the psyche and the productivity of our population. We have a global level convention for preventing tobacco use. It's called the Global Tobacco Convention, which is one of the target set by our country as per Sustainable Development Goals in good health activities. So there are various initiatives taken by the government and various targets as per the Sustainable Development Goals. And within this ambit of the definition of good health, achieving the targets laid down in this FCTC is also one of the most important aspect. So did it actually see any results? Yes, there was a 33% drop in consumption of these ends products. So this is a very good sign that India can actually do much better with respect to this regulation. A young population may not know the consequences of these actions. They might not be happy with the activities taken up by the government, but it is actually helping the population in the longer run. In this regard, since health is a state subject, this is one area where both the states as well as the center came together and acted together to make this objective actually translate into action. So that is a good example of how federalism and cooperative federalism, to be very precise, can yield significant results in very short time if the center and states work together. This is again an example of decentralized governance. So we can use this as an example while we are quoting the success of decentralized governance. That is the gist of this article.